believe it's 5 o'clock, and it's 5 o'clock here. It's not just 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock here. I'm Jeanne Petrosky.
And I'm Lisa Muller, and we're here at JP Design Art to talk with Jeanne about her life as an artist and her artwork. And we will have an interview where I have questions to ask her, but you can also ask questions. Please put them in the chat box, and we'll stop periodically and get those questions answered. The whole thing will take about 30 minutes. So without further ado, Jeanne Petrosky.
Thanks, Lisa. I just wanted to thank Rittenhouse Board for giving us this opportunity. It's so wonderful to be involved with an organization that thinks outside the box, represents the artists, and really cares about our livelihoods. So, thank you. All right, what do you got for me, Lisa?
Well, the first thing I think would be interesting for people to know is that you've been involved with paper for over 30 years. This has been your medium of choice. It's gone through several incarnations, but you have really stuck with paper, and that is quite a long love affair to have with a medium. So I also understand that you met paper at a party, and I wondered if you could tell us that story.
Yes, sure. So it's true. I did meet, and I met a woman at a party who had made the invitations out of handmade paper. And I said, ooh, I'd like to try that. So I had never, at this stage, I'm out of school. And I hadn't had paper making in school. Actually, I didn't have any art. I grew up in a Catholic schooling. So from, I think I did crayons in kindergarten, but grade school and high school, we didn't have art lessons. Senior year, one of the nuns said, I think we should have art, because she probably wanted to do it herself. And she introduced a silly kind of art class. Anyway, so when I was, and then I went on to Montgomery County Community College for painting, drawing, and sculpting, printmaking, which I started having the affair with paper then. And then, because when I had to buy the paper, it was like, ooh, this is good. And pottery I took there, and then I took a year of Tyler, and I took glass blowing and metal and weaving, all kind of weaving, but and then they told me I had to pick a major. I mean, I was still exploring all these mediums, so what do I know? And then I made my first weaving, and I said, oh, no, I'm not doing this. And so then I went to advertising to make a living. It was at a local craft store where I was in sales, and then they had me doing layout work, which for graphic designers, that's pre-computers, and we would have to paste and lay out the text and the photographs and so forth. And I also did custom framing. So the advertising just didn't suit me. Therefore, I went to this party where I met this woman, and I think her name was Paula, but I couldn't swear by that. And she introduced me to paper making. And I'm going to show you the process that she showed me back in 1987, which just still floors me. Okay, so she comes over with her vat of what? Can you see this? Okay. And we're in my kitchen. I have a picture of it. Anyway, we're in my kitchen, and she brings her pulp. Now this we still use the same pulp over all the years. This is cotton fiber, and we use cotton because it'll last forever. Excuse me, let me put my apron on. And I either have play clothes or good clothes. So I'm in my good clothes, believe it or not. And we use the cotton because it'll last forever. Cotton is what all good art papers and books that have lasted over the years, centuries, are made from. It's the other fiber, the wood pulp, that has acid in it, and that's what causes it to deteriorate. So to this day, we still use the same fiber. So I'm putting it in here in the vat of water, clear water. There's no sizing, there's no nothing in it. And I'm agitating the fibers. Apparently, I can be a good agitator. So Dennis says. And this is called the mold. And it's a screen. It's nothing fancy. This is the decal, and it's a frame. So together, mold and decal. And what I'm going to do, and it's quicker than I can even talk, but I'm going to scoop up the fiber and shake it vertically and horizontally to lock the fibers in place.
If you wanted to color the paper, would you add color at this point?
Yes. Originally, I only worked with pigmented or dyed pulps, but now we just use the white. The pulp would be pigmented already, so I'd be working with color now. Okay, and then this is a cotton fiber. This is a cotton cloth, and this is called couching. It's such a cute little word. And it's just transferring the paper onto another surface. And normally, you don't have to do this, but for quick ease. Okay. And so that is really as easy as fun paper making is. And now technical paper making, a completely different story, but I'm not a technical person. And because then you have to put sizing in it and all kinds of stuff. So look at this. Yeah.
Oh, we do have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
What is sizing?
Oh, see, I'm not a technical person. Sizing is, I don't know what it's made out of. I'm not even going to pretend. But it fills in the fibers so that you can paint on it, or you can write on it, and it stays there. It doesn't bleed throughout the whole thing. Once this paper is dried and you put paint on it, it would just soak right in. You couldn't spread it. So the sizing is like a coating in the pulp that allows the paint to flow.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is when I fell in love. This right here.
This is the moment.
This was the moment, because in glass blowing, in pottery, in all those mediums, painting, I needed to be a really good technician before I could let my creativity flow. It's like playing tennis. You got to be good at it before it's enjoyable. But the process of this was so easy that I just went, woo, the angels started singing. It was grand. It was just wonderful. And I immediately signed up for a show. I had never even thought about exhibiting my work. One thing I did kind of know that I had some talent, because the weaving that I did, which I told me I would never do weaving as a career, my professor bought that piece. So, there must have been something there.
How did that feel? Your first sale?
It was awesome. I mean, yeah. What can I say? It was just fabulous. Of course, I probably charged them $10,
Right. So over the years, your work has gone through several different sort of directions, all within the overall umbrella of paper, but you wouldn't necessarily know to look at these different types of work that you've made. Do you have some examples of different?
Yeah, fortunately, oh, I want to backtrack one little bit. The other beauty of paper making is there's no mistake. So if I made this and I didn't like it, it goes back in the drink and you can agitate it again. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. This is the equipment we use now. It's a sprayer and it's loud and Dennis does it. And
so you load the paper into the top. Can we see the top?
Yeah. Load the pulp. This pulp has to go in there.
So the same pulp, essentially,
yep.
Just sprayed. Okay.
And it makes a god awful noise. It's, I mean, it's so loud, but he's really good at it, and he likes doing it, and it allows us to make 4 foot by 8 foot sheets of paper that are strong and durable, that we can paint on and really scrub it. It's a terrific process. So it's an extreme.
And you're spraying that against a form.
Yeah, it's yeah. There's a piece of paper behind you that if you want to hand that to me. So on our website, which is jpdesignart.com, there's a terrific video, professional video, and it shows the whole process. It was just too long and noisy for me to do, and I don't want to do it. And so check out the website. But we start with a piece of aluminum, we spray a layer of the pulp on, and then we put wire mesh down, and then we spray another layer of cotton pulp on top. And then the screen stays in the pulp, in the 2 layers of pulp. So
and that's the strength.
Yes. So, I mean, it really is amazingly strong paper. Okay, back to your question. Sorry. Also on our website, it's a great site. I just redid it. It's good. At the 25-year mark, now Lisa said we've been doing this since 1987. That's 33 years, which is funny because I'm only 32, so I don't know how that happened, but it did, and I'm grateful. So at the 25-year anniversary, we made this book, and it's also on the website, so you can peruse it at your leisure. And here's the picture of me in the kitchen, okay? And then this was the very first piece of art I did, these 2 pieces on the side. So you seeing it okay? And you can see I put, there's plexiglass rods in here. There's, this is Chinese money plant.
That's a little harder to see, but they can see that on the website.
Yes. And then this was a style that I had met, a good friend of mine was a chef, and he was making roses out of tomato skins. And I said, how do you do that? And he showed me how he made a strip out of tomato skin and twirled it around and made a rose. So I made strips of paper and twirled it around and made a rose. And I was selling these as production pieces.
What do you mean by production?
So I had to replicate this. I was selling it through a company that had reps around the country, and they would place orders for it. So I was gathering up these strips of paper, and I gathered them all up, and I said, whoa, isn't that gorgeous? Just showing the edges. So that was a style. And then I went out to the Grand Canyon, where we all fall in love. And I didn't know that something like that could actually be. And that's when this flow style came up.
Tip it back a little on the glare. That's great.
Okay. And so it was large sheets of paper and the strips. And again, I was working with all colored pulps.
So what we're looking at here is the frame, the white matting is flat, but within that, that's all dimensional.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then that lasted about 7 years. I seem to go in these 7 year stints. And for some artists, that's okay. Like they just keep doing the same thing. I'm a curious artist, so and when I'm bored, the work shows it, and I like not knowing what I'm doing. Apparently, that's why I'm doing a 5 o'clock live, and so and it was just too active, and I don't know. I went to my next love, which was rocks, and same cotton pulp. We took foam, carved it, and covered it with colored pulp, and that's that. And we're almost near current. So then in it looks like 2002, I had an illness with that left me with low energy all the time, and I just couldn't go to shows like I was doing. And now since '87, I've been a full-time artist. Okay, so
Again, I'm sorry, this is dimensional. Again, we're looking at something where each of the colors is a separate shape that's joined up with the next shape, like a puzzle.
Yes, like a puzzle.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
And
there, the glare's better.
So I could not. Again, this went into production work where galleries would come to this trade show, which was right in Philadelphia, and there's one in Baltimore, and they would order specific designs. So I could not replicate colored pulp, so I started painting on the work. And that's when I met Dennis, and as they say, the rest is history, and now we're where we are now. And this style hasn't, because I don't know what I'm doing, apparently, it has intrigued me. It's probably been 10-ish years, 12 years. Yeah, it's past the 7-year mark. So it's and I'm still really intrigued. I don't want to do another style. Okay.
So I noticed that your work has been all along been abstract and not necessarily figurative in the way that, human figure or animal figure. So I wondered if you could talk a little bit about your attraction to abstraction and maybe some of the artists that you feel were influential in developing your style.
Okay, I'm happy to. In art history at Montco, in a dark room, I fell in love again. I guess I don't like something, I just fall in love when I do. I don't know. But the abstract expressionist came up, and I awakened. I was going through all the history of all that figurative work, and all of a sudden I woke up from the class, and I just did something to me. How do you explain when something touches you so deeply that there aren't words for it? But that's how I felt, and I'll call that love. But and then when I saw these things in person, at an art museum, man, it gave me a space to breathe. I didn't have to think about what the artist was trying to convey, whether it was good or techniques, were good or not. Well, that still happens with expressionism, but I just, and usually these paintings are big, so they don't just fill you, they fill you. And I was so taken by that it was more emotional than thought. And I guess that's pretty much who I am.
And you have some names of
yeah,
artists that were your favorites? I have to
write down. But Mark Rothko, Robert Motherwell, and my favorite is Clifford Stills. And actually, we were supposed to go see his museum before this whole pandemic happened, and I didn't. We had to cancel. But Clifford Still is my favorite, and um, it's just that there seems I need to have some graphic element into the work. If it's not there, I put it in there, and so between the simplicity and oh, um, so I probably I mean I took drawing in school and I was good at it, but something about the abstraction just does me better. Now we are doing trees, and Dennis brought in the trees element. So when you go on our website, you can see that. And I am a colorist, so I fill. He starts the trees, and then I fill in the color. And I have to say, I mean, it's torturous, and then it becomes fun. Where, yeah.
Sharon would like to know, she missed the name of your favorite artist, so if you could.
Clifford Still. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh.
We were going to talk a little bit about how you move towards simplicity from more complicated work that you did earlier on. So I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. And that took a lot of courage. Again, 33 years. I have to say I'm a shy-ish person. Not terribly confident, growing up. We won't get into that, but it took a while to be confident enough to be simple. And I am grateful for all those people who have come before me that have shown that. And you'll have to help my memory, but there's the wood artist, Nakashima. Is that the right word? Mm-hmm. The right name?
Nakamushi.
Yeah.
It's
Nakamushi. And you probably know it. He does these live wood furnitures, and it's so simple. Every time I see simplicity in the work of my peers, I breathe. And if I breathe, I think there's got to be other people who want to breathe. And for my spirit, and it's only, I have to say, it's only gotten worse over the years as I've gotten older. I can think of, I used to be able to do a lot of different things at once, and now I just have to focus on one thing and do it peacefully. And I say that in my mind, like my mind wants to be peaceful. And yet when I get around people, I get distracted by what they are and who they are, and my need for simplicity kind of can get wavered. But that has been being transformed, and this pandemic has really helped me realize that, because I don't have the schedule that I used to. The shows have been canceled, so I'm home more, and it's been wonderful. And I hope to continue some of that peacefulness in the future. But this is our livelihood, so we still need to be supported. Yes.
I was curious about the pieces that you have out today, and I wondered if you could go through each of them and tell us a little bit about how the paper making process is different for each one, or.
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah. Okay, so this piece, when we use the wire, this is a predetermined. This one. This is a predetermined size. When we make the paper with the sprayer, the size of wire that we cut is the size of the final product. And this has a cutout in it, in the wire. So Dennis sprays the sheet of paper. While the pulp is wet, we tool it with, this one is a straight edge. Okay. And then it dries like that. This goes back, these insets, they're in all individual pieces, and they go back to the one style that I showed you, where it's foam underneath, and then we cover it with pulp, and then there's glazes on top. And when I say glaze, they're acrylic colors. Mine are pretty much kind of pasty now, but they're thin, and they get in all the crevices, and you can keep layering that up. So that's what this piece is about.
What are your
go ahead. No, go ahead.
The colors that you have, are they acrylic colors that they're pigments that you add something to, or you buy them as paints and you thin them, or what?
They're pigments, and they're light fast pigments. They're from Dennis, all his products, and we've checked with conservators, and they're
Could you say the name? It's not showing up that well.
Oh yeah, these are faux effects. Because Dennis was a faux finisher, so that's what his background was. And we put them into the medium, which is it's clear, but it looks white, and so that thins out the color. So they are glazy, and I work with a lot of water too, so I like them.
Right. So essentially, you're making your own paint.
Yeah. And then this one is when we make the sheets of paper. This is kind of really ragtaggy, but so when he makes this sheet and he tears off the edges so it gets back to the wire, we have lots of these scraps. And the mother of invention as she is, that's how these pieces came about. I glued them onto a backboard. You got it. And then once they were dry, then I glazed on top of it. And so we're using up that scrap. Also, if anyone needs cotton fiber that they would like to reuse and make their own papers, give us a ring. Send me an email, because we can't recycle it as much as we make it. So I've been giving my scraps to the local school, but if anyone can use it, let me know.
Is cotton fiber, you purchase your cotton fiber, right? Mm-hmm. But could it possibly come from like clothing or something that's 100% cotton that you purchase and grind up?
Yeah. I don't have the patience for that. You need a Hollander blender, and they're very large and expensive. But yes, that's what 100% rag paper was cotton rags.
So it's a recycled product.
It can be. Mm-hmm. Can be.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. This particular piece, I took the pulp. I'm going to give it to Lisa. I took the pulp and put it right onto the board. We didn't do any spraying, and it gives that a much thicker. Ooh, can you smell that? The pulp. Okay, good.
Good.
The pulp does have a shelf life, but it doesn't affect its longevity at the end. So that's that. And once the pulp is dry, then I use glazes on top. And the other type of one that we're working with is the same cotton pulp, same process. We're working on the smooth side of the pulp, of the dried paper, and These have a resin coating on top, and people seem to respond to that. I just want to say that over all the years, I've always followed my heart. And when we stopped doing the flow stuff, we got all kinds of acclaim on that style. But I guess I'm not in it for the money. Because if I was a smart business person, I would have just kept doing it. But I'm an emotional business person, so I became a technician. The work showed it, and I've always followed my heart. And I think for any artist out there that's thinking about doing this, make sure it's a huge passion and follow your heart. Okay, we're at 30 minutes, and I don't have anything else to. I mean, I could talk for another 30 minutes, but interesting, I'm not sure.
Okay, I have a question here.
Yep.
Is the large piece on top of the insets? So I think they're trying to understand this piece.
Mm-hmm. And the answer is yes. See if we can
yeah, we
get
good
that
to right.
Or a better angle.
Right, that's a great angle. That helps.
So you can look into it, and so there's a cutout. I put those individual blocks in there, and then the top sheet is on top.
And then if you could show it from the different angles, they could see the arc. I think that would be helpful to see.
So because my work was, and I'd say my work initially because I was on my own until 2004 when Dennis.
Okay.
And so dimension has always been important to me, and I've really enjoyed it. So we created this curved armature, and so it's flat. It hangs flat against the wall, but it puffs out.
Back, it's not focusing. It has to refocus.
Oh.
It's taking its time.
Okay.
But you can go ahead and continue.
Okay. So I continue. We do a multiple wave piece, and I continue to try to add some dimension into it, but I'm pretty good right now.
Mm-hmm. So they look very, very, very light.
Yes.
Is that a hollow piece that you showed us?
There's foam under here, so you can't. It's very sturdy. You can't dent it, but it's foam, so it's light. Yeah. So it looks much heavier than you anticipate. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
Good?
Someone asked if they were heavy.
Oh.
And people are thanking you.
Okay. And stay tuned next Thursday night at 5 o'clock. Oh.
Oh, it's facing my way.
Oh. Okay, we're done.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Toodles.